All right. Marfoogle TV going live in 3, 2. All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam A.K. Marf, and this is Marfoogle TV. We've got a lot to go over. Again, Poland readies how to guide in coping in case of war and natural disaster. This is an obvious sign that they're preparing. Many people think that this is just for nothing. Every single country, every single place in Europe is now preparing for a massive war. But of course, there's a lot of information going both ways saying, oh, well, Russia doesn't want a war. Nobody wants this war. They're going to figure it out. It's all just to scare us. But Poland is now preparing a manual on how to cope in case of war or natural disaster. Again, they are saying aiming to strengthen national resilience amid heightened regional uncertainty, including conflict in neighboring Ukraine. The 40-page pamphlet titled Safety Guide gives advice on getting clean water, responding to air raids or blackouts, and locating bomb shelters as part of the first public awareness campaign of its kind in Poland in decades. Now, one thing to think about is they actually did this kind of stuff before World War II. They actually told people, and I'm trying to think if it was a freedom garden or I'll get the correct name of it, but they even told, people during the war to plant a garden and to get ready for these kind of things so you would have food and different vegetables and to do things like that. And we were just talking about the other day how they have literally not done that this time around. And that would be a sign that they are really actually preparing people, right? And people are mad that they don't do that they're not telling people how to survive. In other countries, in Russia, it's almost a daily basis that their regular TV is telling them how to preserve food, how and where to go during a disaster. They have actual mobile concrete bunkers being built in almost every city, but yet nothing is about to happen. Doesn't seem very realistic. So again, we're going to talk about that and much, much more. There's huge news about the president putting out, he could be trolling, the biggest troll in history, but after his attempt on his life, I think there might be some truth to this. They're saying that 2 presidents ago, he may have been a part of something so big that we may never hear the end of it. So we'll be back in just a second. Nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough. All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam A.K. Marf, and this is Marfoogle TV. We've got a lot to go over. Thank you for being here. Chance, thank you for being early on the docket. Ilea, of course, thank you for modding. Thank you, Judy Bailey, Laura Griffith. Trusted Source, thank you for hitting 2 years as a member. Tap the like button. It helps the channel. Hey, thank you. I appreciate that. Sean Charter. That's the way to start the show. Call somebody Sean Charter. Sean Carter, please, I really need it. Yeah, sorry, you didn't need that, though. Nat Tate, LAPD SWAT. Sorry, you guys, I've been moving nonstop. I've been burning both candles at both. Oh, I've been in the sun all day, and I am stupid today. So I'm probably going to read the wrong words, and the words are going to read the wrong things. So let's just get right into it. All right, let's bring in my co-host / internet brother, Dex James. What is going on, and how are you doing today?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Fugle fam. I'm doing just fine.
All right, and Dex, you could tell before the show even started that I am not on top of it today. So thank you for being patient as well. All right.
Not a problem.
Yeah, and then right before the news video we did just a minute ago, which you guys should all go watch because it's talking about nukes on the move and things that are happening. Yeah, Stream Deck and everything else had technical issues, and my brain just can't deal with it. So thank you for your patience. All right, NATO scrambles warplanes for the 13th time in weeks after the latest Putin attack. Dex, do you want to go over that and what happened there?
Well, yeah, and this isn't just let's scramble a plane because we see a patrol plane and coming near a border. This is because of the launches of the attacks into Ukraine. So, Putin unleashed yet another round of bombardments in Ukraine, but they're getting closer and closer to the borders of the 4 Western nations there. And every time that happens, it forces them to scramble the warplanes. So. It's the 13th time in just a few weeks that we have had to publicly admitted to deploying the jets in response to these attacks from the drones and the missiles that are coming in. So obviously they've been pounded quite a bit from Russia into Ukraine, but it's when they go down that western border area, past Poland, Slovakia, Hungary, Romania, specifically Poland, which they would always cross over the border sometimes when certain areas they were targeting, just for a few seconds. But it was that type of encroachment or even getting close to that border is more than enough to get NATO to scramble the planes. So it's happening more and more. And I think that the more that happens, the more it's kind of, there's sort of a normalcy that comes about to it, and sort of like Xi trying to normalize the encroachment on Taiwan. They're trying to normalize the fact that these missiles are flying over, but they have to act every time as if this is the real deal. And if it's continuously happening, then it won't be. It can either be a surprise attack when the time comes to actually strike, say, Poland, or even Romania or somewhere else, because they will think it's not a drill, but they'll think it's targeting Ukraine, just like they'll think in Taiwan, oh, it's just another drill, when in reality it's not. This time they're actually attacking. So there's some concern with that too. But yeah, this is a lot. It's 13 times in just a few weeks. That's significant.
Someone says new law in Seattle running low on water, 4-minute showers. I think of the future when whether it is true or not, or whether they whether we need it or not, they have pictures and videos of the future, essentially, that we will need. We'll need desalination plants on all of the coastlines. And, in just the next 50 years or something, that will run out of drinkable water and everything else. And if that is truly the dystopian picture for the future, I can only imagine how horrible it is if, places on the coastlines are already dealing with stuff like that. One thing I don't understand, if that is an issue, why isn't there already the process of making desalination plants? Like, why wait 40 years for it to start, Never understood that, with all the billions and billions and trillions we throw away and put into secret causes for, things they say are for our good, right? And then, of course, pilot makes aggressive maneuver to avoid a collision with a B-52 bomber. We cover all of the aggressive maneuvers and all of the close calls because any of these close calls can turn into something bigger. In fact, when something really does happen, or if and when this does happen, we have a active war type of event where 2 pilots actually hit each other and the red phone is not used and they don't come to calmer senses. Something like this will be what we'll see on the news, only we'll see the crashes on the ground, and they'll, obviously use it either as propaganda or as a real purpose to go to war. A passenger jet landing in North Dakota performed a go-around to avoid colliding with an Air Force B-52, according to the commercial pilot's comments. Now, something like this, you see the B-52 and you think, well, this was a very close call. And some of the rumors around this were even saying that there was some sabotage going on, that we might have people in our country. At the same time, we just covered that you have actually Russian FSB checking all of their ships and things like this. You've had many kind of threats around our planes and around our systems. You've, of course, had the event where the helicopter was hit by the plane, and they said that it just didn't make sense why they were at the same place, why the systems that told them where they were supposed to be or not be were, not activated, especially on the military side when you have a military helicopter that doesn't say, hey, there is a jet over there. In that case, some are questioning if this is some sort of sabotage. If something like this does happen and they say the black box was tampered with or not tampered with, the actual plane or the actual craft was tampered with. SkyWest Flight 3788, acting as a Delta connection between Minneapolis and Minot, North Dakota, was cleared by the tower for landing on Friday, the airline said in a statement, but the pilot performed a go-around when another aircraft became visible in their flight path. Air Force officials did not provide details of the incident, but they did say that there was a hulking B-52 bomber was performing a flyover at a North Dakota state fair, which took place in Minot, home to a commercial airport and Air Force base. I don't think that something like this, it very well could be something simple. But one thing that's crazy is how we have been informed by Fugel fam that work in this sector, how hard this is to actually happen with all of the up-to-date software and all the up-to-date stuff that we have to prevent something like this even getting close. So, you always wonder if something like this could be sabotage or something like it. All right, now before we move on, I do want to remind you guys that there is a small batch of the tacticals that are out. And again, this is one of our greatest recommendations as far as a Army tough solar generator. You guys should go check this out because they have a limited batch, and once that batch is out, they are gone. And Dex, we can confirm that they still have them in stock, right?
Yes, they won't take orders again. So if you can't order it, then you can't order it. If you can order it, it's shipping.
Okay. So once you cannot order, there's no email, nothing you can really send them that will get them to do it because it is a small batch, and then after that is gone. Again, they're not doing that to make you urgent. They literally do not have the ability to make more than that small batch other than the actual contracts that they're doing for the Army. Now, I don't know why the video is not loading, but if you actually see images of this thing, they're all made out of metal. This is the regular, which is made out of aluminum. The actual tactical is made out of steel, reinforced steel casing. You've got the actual locks on the sides that are just easy click. These have buttons. These are a great system. You can have up to 4 of them, but on the actual tactical, you have these latches that can quickly just undo. If you only need to take 1 battery with you and power a drill or something, or if you need to stack 10 of them, you can do that. You can connect them up to I believe it's plus 40. I want to say it's up to 44 or something like that. But again, I could be wrong. I know it's so many that most of you are not going to be able to afford to stack that many. Again, most people will not need that. They'll need probably 1 or 2 batteries. I've seen a couple people that have had 4 for certain setups. But again, it is an awesome, awesome unit. Again, go check it out. And it charges very quickly. While we do have power, you can charge this from the wall or you can charge it from solar panel. It's a good thing to have backup for CPAP machines and things like that. So go check it out, marfugelnews.com/energy, INERGY, code Marfoogle. And this is not the one image shown. Again, the one that is shown that is actually going to be in just won the U.S. Army SBIR Phase 1 contract. So those are the same ones. You are getting one of those, the same ones that will be on the back of a Humvee. So again, go check it out, marfugelnews.com/energy, and make sure to use the code MARF for a discount. All right, and then Iran sends a rocket designed to carry satellites into a suborbital test flight. Dex, do you want to go over that?
Yeah, certainly. Anytime Iran or any of our major adversaries launches something into space, it's always a question of concern because we don't really have 100% confidence on what it is they're launching, and we have to spend a great deal of time monitoring it to make sure it's truly what they say it is.
Could be an EMP.
And it very well could be. It could be anything. But apparently Iran tested one of its satellite-carrying rockets with a suborbital flight on Monday, meaning it didn't make it all the way to orbit, but it was a suborbital flight. So this wasn't necessarily putting something in space, or at least that wasn't their plan, although they could have done that and we don't know about it. They could have also launched a suborbital flight and done something nefarious with it. They could have launched an EMP from that. Obviously, that didn't happen. in this case. But anytime they launch anything space related, it's important to pay attention to. So, but it's the first test since the ceasefire was reached back from the 12-day war. So the test was the latest for a program that the West says improves Tehran's ballistic missiles. So they are saying that while, it was a satellite carrying rocket, obviously this is technology that's going to be used on the ballistic missiles because they do go up into orbit and then come back down. So
look at the timing.
Yeah.
We're moving nukes around, and then they're launching stuff into space, and they're saying it's assessing some emerging new technologies in the country's space industry. Well, they're working very closely with Russia and China and other countries. I mean, we don't know everybody that they're working with, but they're obviously trading technology. They could be obviously trading things with North Korea that North Korea got from Russia, or Russia got with from China. So whatever this is, it does not sit well, especially the timing, and you see the batches of news that come out, and that's what's really creepy about it. Dex, when they say that they're assessing new emerging technologies in the country's space industry, how believable do you think that is, right?
Yeah, I'm sure it's more about their building for their ballistic missiles
and surveillance.
Technology.
Yeah. Surveillance and ballistic technology so they can get to Israel. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. And then Dex, also go over the message to Iran as joint naval drill launched in Caspian Sea.
Well, this is interesting too, because when Iran was being attacked, Russia was not there outside of giving a few words to the West saying, hey, you guys should stop, or, we should negotiate, or even going beforehand saying, hey, we'll help negotiate. But they weren't there to back up Iran. So I guess as a makeshift for that was sort of like, hey, we'll do a drill for you. So Russia is doing a naval drill with Iran in the Caspian Sea. So the Iran and Russia began their Cesar X 2025 naval drill on Monday. It's held in the Caspian Sea, and which is seen as a way for both countries to assert their role in those waters. And if you remember, the Caspian Sea is sort of that lake area. It's a sea, but it's landlocked, and it's the very northern section of Iran touching to the southern sections of Russia and all the other countries there to the west, south of Russia. So that area there is where they actually held or are holding the drill as we speak now.
And remember, the Black Sea strategy is by Turkey, and that everybody else, Greece has talked about it. Azerbaijan and Armenia, not Armenia. Yeah, Armenia. Azerbaijan and Armenia, they have mentioned it. I don't think has the Black Sea strategy been announced yet? So you have the Black Sea strategy a few days ago being talked about and being kind of half announced, and then you have them sending out this message in the Caspian Sea, which is over on the other side of Georgia and Armenia and Azerbaijan. So again, I don't think it's a coincidence. And then Ukraine Zelensky says new peace talks planned for Wednesday. Raise your hand. Let's go over to chat real quick. How many of you think that these new peace talks are going to work out? Press 1 for yes, 2 for no, or 3 you can put your own answer. But what do you think is going to happen for Wednesday's planned peace talks? I mean, this is probably the 80th time I've covered peace talks in the last 2 months, and none of them have actually ended well. But hey, I would love to see some 2 not so well. There's a lot of 2s, a lot. More 2s than the poop cruise, okay? So, yeah, I honestly think that not too many people have faith in this. But again, they say that peace talks between Ukraine and Russia are planned for Wednesday in Turkey. Again, the same place we just mentioned with the Turkey Black Sea strategy. So, yeah. Most people believe that it is a big old bunch of crap. But again, let's see what happens. Dex, I mean, do you have much faith in these peace talks that are planned for Wednesday?
No. Why does Putin want peace right now? He's I wouldn't say he's winning, but he's not losing.
Yeah. And he's producing more than 4 times as much as all of NATO combined, which is crazy. In fact, they didn't say NATO. They said Western countries. Didn't they say that including us? Isn't that something that was in that stat?
Well, yeah, if it was Western countries or NATO, I guess it would still include us either way. But yeah, we would be. I would think we would be included in that number. We don't make as many
That's nuts.
munitions as they're doing. We're trying to ramp ours up.
Okay, this is what I mean. This is like you're on the cusp of a civil conflict kind of stuff to be posting. And, with everything that we've seen over the last few years, after all of the riots, when things got tough, we saw what happened. When people got, pitted in and locked in for CV, everybody just got super pissed off. Everybody got super angry. In fact, I just saw something that if you happen to get a certain thing, that you're more likely to get angry, have violent outbursts, to have personality changes and things like that. But again, besides the point, we've had so many times where the whole country believed we were going to get into a civil conflict. In fact, the actual surveys of the United States, everybody was in this mood. Even when the movie Civil War came out, everybody was, really freaked out about that because it was at such a crazy time. Well, now the president is posting something pretty nuts. I'm actually I'm blown away by this, but I'm also like, do you remember the whole thing from 2017 and on about the rumors of all of the 4chan stuff and all of that? And now he's posting an AI video that shows 2 presidents back getting arrested. And that's like the tip of the iceberg. Dex, do you want to talk about why he's posting this and, what kind of thing happened here and why this is so insane?
Well, yeah, it's obviously, I'm sure most of you have heard, but if you didn't, there was a massive revelation this weekend from Department of Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, highlighting how Obama was intimately involved in, quote, a treasonous conspiracy as he and his national security team laid the groundwork for what has become known as the, Russia hoax or the collusion story, the Trump-Russia collusion story. So all of these documents, I guess, detail this, and it's been turned over to, the legal side for potential prosecution. And I guess the question now is everybody's like, okay, who's going to get prosecuted? And is anybody going to get prosecuted? And is it for treason? Or is it not really treason when you think about it? And where does presidential immunity fall into this? And does that play a role since Trump proved that one? So we'll have to see how this plays out in the coming days, weeks, months. It could be just yet another giant distraction, especially to get people off of the EpiPen story, which they all want to just keep digging into, and now give them something else to clinch into and say, oh, well, now we've got a former president potentially getting arrested, and everybody's been waiting for the first big arrest, and as they say online. So
what if they embrace what happened with the 17th letter? What if they embrace it all of a sudden, and then all those people that were involved in that are just gonna, all of a sudden they're gonna have everybody mobilized on that. What if it came out that all of that was connected? I mean, he definitely hinted towards it. There was stuff that was unmistakable hinting towards that maybe it was true, but people thought maybe it was just trolling. Maybe it was taking advantage of something that was a movement that helped him in his campaign. Either way, this is insane. But do I think it's going somewhere? No. Do I think any of these politicians are going to actually be arrested for what they did? No. That's just being realistic. These people, they're not above the law. I see that comment all the time. These politicians are not above the law. Yes, they are. And that's the sad truth. It shouldn't be the truth, but that's the sad truth. If you or I has a squirrel in their house, we'll be arrested and put in Guantanamo. Can't have that. But if these guys, take out people on a whim, well, they'll get off with a ankle bracelet. Dex, go ahead.
Did you see the Brady Bunch tweet?
Yeah, I
was in there?
showed it
Okay,
for a
you
brief
showed that.
second. I know that
Yeah.
the AI is
Shady
gonna
Bunch.
yeah,
Yeah.
but
It's funny.
I've never heard of at Sir Temple Mount, but that's a pretty well put together meme. And then before we move on, make sure to go check out EMP Shield if you haven't already. This is a device that can protect your cars, trucks, motorcycles, boats, and pretty much anything else. In fact, they have new devices that will protect your Starlink device. If you do have Starlink, you don't want it to go down in a disaster. You might have Starlink because specifically that reason. So you have satellite internet. But again, this is a device that is mostly bought for the vehicles, because the vehicles, anything pretty much over 1980 is not going to work. If you've ever read the book 1 Second After, it talks about it in depth. A lot of these things that will happen after an EMP strike are pretty horrid, and a lot of them are actually preventable. And that's the sad part. If we did look at this as the threat it is, which many agencies do, they are protecting themselves. In fact, EMP Shield is working with agencies like the Air Force, with DOD, with DHS, with the DEMSO team helping protect the Texas grid, and many, many more. They're listed on the website. It's military tested. This is supposed to protect infrastructure too. Well, why is this not code for every new house? Why is this not, built into every new car as a requirement? If that was the case, our whole entire country would start being on this plane of being protected, but it's not. So don't trust anybody else to protect you. As you know, in prior disasters, Hurricane Katrina, the police and the people that we thought were going to save us, well, sadly, they have family too. And they left their posts to save their own families and their own grandmas in nursing homes. And that is most likely what is going to happen. So I hope that people do end up getting a device like this. It takes a few minutes. Anybody can do this. One Fugel family member has really bad carpal tunnel and really bad joints. They did this on their car. It's red to red on your battery, black to black on your battery, green to ground, and then, of course, just bolt it into the side of your chassis. marfugelnews.com/EMP, and make sure to use the code MARF. Shannon Joe Sissel, thank you so much. I appreciate your support. Thank you. Thank you, Angelo Profelli, members Devin Backus and Jay Pass. Thank you for saying thank you to Shannon. And then thank you, Trusted Source. Thank you, Dylan, for subscribing. Thank you, Behringer. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you, Carol D, for subscribing. Thank you, Carol, a member. High Card Me Too. Goddess Thorn, WIS Jen, Sharon, Stephen McMahon, J Pass, Scott Jarm, Jeff Crawford, and so many more. Thank you, guys. And then major indications nuclear bombs are back at USAF Air Force Base in England. Why this is a big deal is because the timing. And honestly, the timing is just becoming absurd. You see what's happening. While we're being distracted with possible arrests of presidents, they are talking about, that they have now low-key let us know that they're moving nuclear weapons around. Am I afraid of the nuclear weapons? No, because most of the time this is as a message, right? You see Russia doing a message in the Caspian Sea. It's probably not a coincidence. This is probably because of the Black Sea strategy. And of course, they had information on this before anybody else. Same day that it comes out, that there's indications that nuclear bombs are at bases. Dex, obviously we know that Europe, a lot more so than the U.S., is preparing, and it looks like it is literally getting ready for the beginning of a war.
Well, certainly. And I mean, look, these two fighter squadrons that have moved over there that carry the insignias and the patches that show that they work with nuclear weapons, fly F-35s and the F-15s, I believe it was, or F-16s. I can't remember whichever one it was. They both are now capable. Remember, they recently certified it's the F-15E and the F-35A. They're both capable of now carrying the B-61 series free fall thermonuclear bombs. So that's the concern, and not a concern, but it's sort of like it's the unofficial tell that they are likely moving, since they've moved some of these squadrons there, they've moved some of these planes there, that along with that, they've moved some of these B-61s with them, so that they now have the capability to launch from the air, from an airborne position, with the F-35s, any of these nukes, or tactical style, if they so choose, from this location, from England. Now, the UK is definitely a hot target for Russia. It's been in the line of fire of all of their ire and threats of even being struck with nukes from Russia, more so than most other locations, with the exception of maybe, the areas around Kaliningrad. But yeah, big. It is significant to see this type of a shift.
F-35As, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is the top of the top, right? Is this is our stealth jet that they said that they may be able to track because of the exhaust? Is that correct, or am I thinking of a different?
I think they can track all of them because of the exhaust, but I don't think they have it.
China
to be able to. China said that, but that doesn't mean they can find them. They have to find it to track it. They can't just randomly look across the globe and find it. They'd have to pinpoint it. Then once they find it, then they can track it because of the exhaust. But yes, it does potentially eliminate the stealth capability with China's new satellite technology they were working on.
And I'm not so worried about that, but this is the top of the top. This is a
second
system,
top of the top. F-22 is better.
F-22 is better. Okay,
yes.
so
but F-22 is super private, not shared with any other country, not sold. F-35 is our moneymaker. It's the one we sell to all the other countries, and it is stealth.
Okay, I want to check something. I think the F-35 though is going to be a massive part of the Iron Dome, or not the Iron Dome, the Golden Dome system. I wanted to go here real quick. By the way, I have made it a mission for myself. I think I reposted it on X, but there was a gentleman talking about our hippocampus and how we are destroying our hippocampus by using navigation, by using AI. And I, just like anybody else, and there's a lot of people that have been doing this. Some won't admit it, but a lot of people have been using AI for almost everything. Now you see a response in almost every tweet, and it says, "Grok, is this true?" It's like they could spend 2 seconds actually going and checking it, but they just go, "Grok, could confirm this." It's like we're literally destroying our hippocampus. But I do want to look this up because I'm on air, so it's pretty hard to actually find this stuff and to try, duck going. And I also don't like Google. So the responses go, "Oh, you ask Grok instead of doing something you can Google in one sentence." I'm like, Googling in one sentence? When has Google been accurate anymore? But just my opinion. At Grok, is the F-35 a part of the Golden Dome? I want to see, because if this is the correct plane, this is the crazy part, is the Golden Dome is a worldwide project, and it is going to be something that if it gets put into play, number 1, number 2, number 3, or China and Russia are going to absolutely be very, very pissed off. F-35 Lightning II. So this is the Lightning A, or A Lightning, and the Golden Dome Missile Defense Initiative are distinct but potentially complementary systems. The 2 is single seed, blah blah blah. So what I've seen is I'll show you the picture of this again. So when you look at this system, right? And this looks like almost exactly like the other one. But in the nose of this, there's all of these little metal sensors and things that it's a radar system. But it's supposedly one of the craziest systems as far as a plane. These planes can detect missiles. These planes can detect part of it. So you will have a network of these around the world that will actually have a part in playing with the Golden Dome. And they will have actual deterrents and things that could knock down the missiles and go up into space and knock them down at different points. You'll have all of these different layers where from the point it takes off to where it's about to enter the atmosphere to where it's in atmosphere, where it's in space. You'll have all of these different systems working together if they are telling the truth about what the Golden Dome system is. So that's something to pay attention to. The Golden Dome system is there to protect our U.S. cities. That's what's freaked out. It freaked out a lot of people, is because this is something we've never historically needed. We don't have people launching a bunch of missiles at us. And this wouldn't even be like from across, it can protect across the planet, but I think that they're also using it to protect against, somebody that is outside of our country, either in Mexico or comes in through another place. Like, I wonder why, so much so that we're going for Greenland, that we want to be able to control Canada, why there's so much talk of that. Maybe we don't trust the Canadian government. I don't know. With some of the treaties they've signed with China, I honestly could question that. But yeah, and then F-47 is supposed to have lasers. Yeah, so they're working on some versions that are supposed to have the F-35 have lasers too. That's one thing I know. I don't know which version of the F-35. Dex, go ahead.
As far as interception goes, it's F-16s, F-15s, because they were proven to shoot down missiles quite effectively in the Middle East. Those have been sort of incorporated as part of overall use for Golden Dome-ish technologies. Now, Lockheed Martin did say they wanted to use the F-35 as part of it, but it hasn't actually been considered, because they do talk about their command and control networks and their overall defensive capabilities, which is what you're talking about.
The system is the Sentinel A4 radar, and that's what they are. It says it has expressed interest in contributing systems like the F-35 and its Sentinel A4 radar. They said that they believe that there will be no Golden Dome without systems like this employed. So F-35 could and should be part of a wide array of existing equipment forming the basis of the Golden Dome. So they're essentially saying that this F-35 and the systems within, that this is going to play a part in it as well, which I think is extremely interesting, because if you just really think about the whole system in itself, if they're really putting this into play, they're not putting this into play for times of peace. They're putting this into play because something massive is happening in the next few years. So, I hope that people have listened to the warnings of ourselves and peers over the years and had just a basic, plan to prepare, because this is something that is, I think it is inevitable. It's a matter of time. It's a matter of when, not if. I hope all of you enjoyed today's show. Thank you so much, everybody that joined us in tonight's show. Thank you so much, High Tech Computers, for hitting 5 months. Thanks, Marf Dex Mods. Head on a swivel, y'all. And then Trusted Source. And then, of course, thank you, Shannon Joe Sissel. Thank you, guys. End of the world again, RW. I didn't say that. And again, I love comments like that because they're very trolly. But nobody in this chat thinks it's the end of the world. And I've said it 1,000 times. This isn't the end of the world. It's the beginning of the new one. And RW, people like you won't be able to speak things like that because you won't have freedom of speech. And you won't have the internet. So I should be happy for you to be able to comment things like that. And then Judy Bailey, thanks, Marf, from Folsom Prison. Jeff B, nice to see you. Susbot, Shastina, John Doe, Dazed and Confused Blonde. Yeah, so watching the signs, again, should not be something that is associated with fear. If you're afraid, don't watch a scary movie. You're an adult, okay? If you don't like the scary, hack 'em up movie, don't watch the scary hack 'em up movie. Go back to, Cartoon Network. And then Wiz Jen Nat Guat, GWAT 42. It is the end of the world and the start of the old ways. I sure hope not. And then TV Test Pattern coming from the Duke of Doom. I don't mind that. I don't know if that's my nickname, but that would be pretty cool. Frank Walls, amen, and Shastina. You guys have a great night. Raider Vader, I love that name too. 100% with you. Thank you guys. Love you. Be safe. Be prepared. Dex, thank you so much for your service tonight. I appreciate you.
Much love. Great job, brother.
All right, you guys, and thanks for all the mods. Make sure to go check them out over on marfooglenews.com/friends. You have a great, awesome list of people right over there. Not only that, you have, of course, the friends, different creators that we think are awesome suggestions to go check out. So go check them out. Be safe, be prepared, and Marf out. It's now time for the shoutro. It's not an outro. It's not a shout out. It's a shoutro.